Starlight Zone, folks, and this is a level that I'm really glad there's 3 acts of. Like look at this. I love this. This level has its problems, but that doesn't mean I hate it. It is annoying that if you jump onto the spike balls, you get hit though. Although they're spike balls, of course you get hit. But how are you supposed to not get hit there? I like the invincibility though. Like there's a lot of invincibility boxes in Labyrinth Zone. And that's another thing that makes it not nearly as bad as people say to me. Like, when I played it for the first time, I was like, well, this isn't nearly as bad. This isn't the worst water level ever. Aqua Lake Zone is a horrible water level. I will always say that Blue Marine Zone is the worst water level in all Sonic. Because imagine the tubes of Scramble Lake Zone, the tube mazes, only they suck you in when you're near them and you're underwater. Yeah, this part of the level is pretty tricky because you have to be going at it with just the right amount of momentum or you'll fall off the loop instead of going through it. It's not like a lot of Sonic games where the loop is automated and you're guaranteed to go through it every single time. And in a lot of games, and like in this game, the loops will give you a burst of speed when you get through them. But some games don't do that. Like in Sonic Rush, for example, and Rush Adventure, the loops kind of feel like a waste of time because you don't really feel a burst of speed from going through the loops. So it just feels like, oh great, a loop. Can I just progress with the rest of the level now? Like the loops are just there as a novelty rather than making you go fast. I like Starlight Zone though. Basically, Sonic and Eggman are pretty much a contrast to Mario and Bowser in every way. Like, Sonic is young and cocky and he has an attitude and he's all carefree and stuff. And he's cheerful just like Mario, but is more in a confident, self-assured kind of way. Like, he does what he wants. And Eggman is, like I said, the opposite of Bowser. Oh, that checkpoint is dickish. You know why? Because there's no rings after it. It's very hard to get rings when you get to that checkpoint. So if you die to this boss, then you're guaranteed to have to fight it without rings. And I think that's pretty dickish. That's the only checkpoint in the entire level, by the way. This boss is tricky, but kind of enjoyable. It's like, see these seesaws? You have to use them to hit Eggman. Or you have to have it launch you in a very specific way so that you can hit him. But if you're not launching exactly the right way, when Eggman's in exactly the right position, then you're gonna end up being cheated out of a hit because you didn't go high enough or with enough horizontal momentum. And so it's kind of annoying because it lasts longer than it should. And the spike balls, they hurt you when you hit them. And they explode after a while. And that explosion can hurt you. But I still kind of like it. And when you beat it, Act 3, you free all the animals. I still don't get how they use animals as batteries for robots though. I mean, first of all, I think Eggman's more than capable of making batteries for robots that are animals. It just seems evil for the sake of evil. And second, like, I think animals make a little more sense as computational power, like he's not, as if he's not capable of making a good CPU and has to rely on an animal brain, but no, that doesn't really make sense either. Like, I don't respect Eggman's personality, but he is an engineering genius after all. Oh look, invisible blocks. What is this, the Mega Man game? And they just appear, and you have to land on them very specific ways. Yeah. Like, I like Scrapbook. Call me crazy, but this is all about the platforming. And you feel really good at the game if you're good at this. And, like, there's pretty much every trap you can name here. And there's a lot of tricky platforming challenges like this, for one. You have to jump in a very specific way to get onto the platforms above you. Because the annoying thing about these platforms is that you can't jump on them from below many platforms in the game that you can jump on them, like that one. You can jump on the invisible blocks from below, directly below, and you'll land on them. Why are these ones so finicky? And I died a lot to the floors that open up below you. Like, I remember very clearly what my first experience with the stage was. I mean, for the most part, I was good at it, but I died twice in a row when I first started out the level for the first time because I would die to the very first collapsing floor. And then I would start out the next level. I would start out the level, and then I would die to the next collapsing floor right afterwards. It's like, you think I would have learned my lesson the last time. Like, okay, these pink badniks are a little too cute looking for this part of the game. And their bombs are pretty annoying too. I don't really like them all that much. Like, Scrap Brain Zone is pretty infamous, but I don't think it's the worst final level in Sonic history at all. You can't get a special ring at the end of the Scrap Brain Zone. Like, you can't. I guess that sort of makes sense, but I don't know. I mean, they're magical rings. I think they'll be able to appear whenever they want, you know? Oh god, the wheels. They're not as bad as the ones in Sonic CD, because you don't constantly fly off them for no reason, except there. But it doesn't happen as often. These things are so annoying to rely on. Like, they send you in exactly the opposite direction you want to go. Like, basically you're holding right when on them, and it's a good thing to be able to a ball on them too. But it's so easy to get flung off them, and you have to time it exactly right to be sent where you want to go. And it's very hard to time. And look, you just thickly dropped because you were sent upwards and not exactly. If you don't have enough horizontal momentum, it's going to be really annoying to get past that section. And you're forced to use those wheels. You're forced to use those wheels, by the way. And look, more spinning platforms. Like, this is a pretty annoying level. Like, look at this. Yeah, it's gonna get a lot trickier than that later on. Basically, it's hard to describe how exactly the conveyor belts fuck up your momentum, but they just do. And you have to just jump on them a whole bunch of times, and I guess you'll be fine, but even then you can just get led right into the buzzsaws. And obviously you don't want to fall down there because, well, you can get out of there, but you can't jump through those collapsing floors. You can't jump through those collapsing floors in the bottom. They're just like the spinny platforms. So, well, it's not like other platformers because if you just get hit, you'll lose rings, and then you can just collect those rings, and you'll be fine. But still, it's kind of annoying. Oh, this is the hardest section. And this is the hardest section in Scrap Brain Zone by far. Basically, just keep on jumping on conveyor belts, and you'll be fine. And you have to move around really weirdly so that you'll stay on them, and you'll not run off them. It's kind of tricky, to be honest. And there's also a lot of areas that can crush you. And there's a lot of bombs from Starlight Zone too. Yeah, I forgot to mention, there used to be a completely different level order for this game. Like, it was going to go from Green Hill Zone to Marble Zone to Labyrinth. Wait, no. It was supposed to go from Green Hill Zone to Labyrinth Zone to Starlight Zone. Okay. It was supposed to go in a natural progression of greenery and nature to metal machinery areas. So Labyrinth Zone was going to be the second level in the game. Yeah, a lot of people would have put it down at that point. There's a lot of Sonic games where the water level is the second level. I'll never understand that, because water levels in Sonic tend to suck. But anyways, the Labyrinth Zone is going to be the second level in the game. And you would have Sparkling Zone, which is the prototype name of Springyard Zone. You would have it pretty far away. Like, Springyard Zone and Starlight are considered to be some of the best levels in the game, and it would have taken a long time for you to get past Sonic's idle animation. I like how he has an idle animation. That's another thing that separates him from Mario. Like, I don't hate Mario. I mean, I used to be most of a Mario fan. It wasn't until later that I got really into Sonic and I realized, wow, this is a pretty slow-paced platformer. I don't really feel a sense of competence when I play as levels. Like, I just outgrew Mario, I guess. This is easily my least favorite level in the game. Well, I would say that, but if you take the shortcut I just did, and you run past the moving floor, then you're gonna skip a lot of the level. It's not gonna take nearly as long. But this is basically what I call Labyrinth Zone Act 4. I mean, did there really have to be another level like this? I hate how the ball and chains will go into the walls and you can't see where they are, so you can't see where they come out of. And because of where Sonic is on the screen, he's on the center of the screen. He's not on the bottom, which would make it a lot easier to see where the spike balls come out of. And if you don't jump on that spring in exactly the right way, you're going to end up hitting the ceiling. And that's pretty much it. And you'll have to constantly depend on that spring to get here. This boss fight isn't really that difficult though. It's really tense because you don't have any rings. And that's not going to be the last time that you have to fight a boss fight without rings in the Sonic game. But this boss fight is deceptively easy because there's always certain parts of the boss arena where you just stand there and you're just guaranteed to not get hit by the energy balls. Sometimes you have to jump to avoid getting hit by them, but look, it's very obvious that the two energy balls at the leftmost part of the arena were very far away from each other. See, right there. Like, the ones in the center were further away from each other than most of the other energy balls. And now these ones are. So you can tell that you don't really have to jump around to dodge them, just stand still. The annoying thing about this boss, though, is that it has a very small hitbox. It's very finicky about how exactly you jump into him. Like, it can be really easy to feel cheated out of a hit because you don't hit him exactly right. And this boss has an annoying glitch where if you get an extra hit in after you kill him somehow, then you're gonna have an overflow glitch where he is pretty much invincible because it takes like over 255 hits to kill him. And their timer's gonna run out before you even beat him. So even if you stick around long enough to try to beat him, you're pretty much done. Yeah. I don't know if he plays the idle animation, if it's a good ending. I think that's supposed to be a punishment for not getting all the Chaos Emeralds. But if he had all the Chaos Emeralds, then the emeralds would just circle around him. Like, basically the Chaos Emeralds are the MacGuffins of the Sonic franchise. And they're going to become a lot more important later on, because in this game, they're just shiny things that you collect to get a very, very slightly better ending. And there's only 6 of them right now. Like, they have yet to discover the final Chaos Emerald. Like, I'll explain more about that later on. Like, basically, like, I love this game. Like, a lot of people don't because of all the early installment weirdness. But I think it's a great platformer. there's a lot of platforming, and sure, that's not really what Sonic should be about, but it knows what it wants to do, and it does it very well. It does it well. You know, there's a lot of Sonic games that don't stick to what they're best at, and they just have these different parts of it that aren't really as good as what they're best at. Like, for example, Sonic Unleashed. Like, I love that game, but it has the Werehog, and it has really, really fast day stages. And, like, I don't think the Werehog is as bad as people say once you get used to it. Like, replaying the Werehog levels is a lot more fun, because you know what to do, and you're going through it really fast. But it is still pretty repetitive. And my point is, like, Sonic 1 knows what it's going to do, and it does it really well. It doesn't quite understand what it's all about, it's fast-paced platformer, but it knows what it wants to do, and it does the platforming really well. And I think that's something that later games in the series are going to both build on and not really build on. So that was Sonic 1. And I'll see you later with more Sonic games and Zelda games as well.